Welcome back to another episode of Pass and Move podcast. My name is Dominic, and of course joined by my co-host Aaron. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Let's get straight into it this week. A lot of football to cover. Obviously we had a absolute blockbuster on the weekend with the Chelsea Spurs game. Obviously ended 4-3. Crazy game. Obviously Spurs start going 2-0 up. Two kind of slips from Kukurea. We had the whole situation with his boots. Had to change them after the goals. Funny situation. But Spurs take the lead quite early in this game. 2 goals. Chelsea get one back, and I think for the rest of the first half, it was kind of an even game, quite back and forth. I think Spurs had quite a few chances, to be honest, to extend their lead. I remember Son had one that sticks out in my mind quite clear. I think Kulusevski had maybe one or two as well. And obviously Chelsea came back as well, and they had a few of their chances of their own. Cole Palmer was good at finding some space and trying to make things happen. But what did you think of the first half of this game and some of the performances?
You know what? I actually thought Spurs started pretty well. Like I thought they started well. They were creating chances. Obviously, I think they scored. Was it through Solanke?
Yeah, the first goal.
Yeah, and then I don't know, like after the errors with the boots, I can't lie. That was so funny. I think it was either Carroll or Neville getting onto him on commentary saying like, why are you complaining about the boots? But I can't lie. Like when I watched him actually fall over, it did look like the boots.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. So I'll give him the benefit.
And I mean,
of the
he
doubt.
switched him. He didn't slip again.
You
so.
see, yeah, literally the only time I think they said at half time, the only time he gave away the ball that half was those 2 times he slipped.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to me. But I think they Spurs started well, but then after change the boots, maybe about like 20, 25 minutes in, I think from then onwards, Chelsea really started to get back into it. Palmer had a good performance. Enzo had a really good performance as well. And overall, Sancho had a great performance actually.
Yeah.
He was the one that kind of mainly caught my eye. And it was really, really kind of like refreshing to see him perform the way he was. Especially because, with the situation with him at United and stuff, I think one of the commentators mentioned like, this time last year he was on hiatus waiting to find his new club for the January window.
Yeah.
And you look at that 12 months ago compared to now, look at the way he's performing now. Like, I can't lie, he could be proud. Like, this is him getting back to himself. Like, he's not even like he's just, getting goals and assists here and there. Like, he's actually playing well in games. Like, he's making things happen. But yeah.
And one of the things I really liked about the Sancho performance was that even though, like, okay, to be fair, for his goal, he was quite direct in terms of running at guys and you see shots scored, but his actions, his overall play was just way more positive than some of the performances I've seen from Sancho when he was at United. Even some of the early games at Chelsea. I remember the Liverpool game. I think he got substituted at half time earlier this season, where the ball will come out to him and he's just basically passing it backwards, maybe do a little body fake here and there, pass it sideways, pass it backwards. But against Spurs, he really was playing with intent, like looking to create chances, link up play, but progress the ball forward with all his actions. And I think when Sancho's in that mode and he's playing like that, he's clearly a class player. And yeah, I mean, it seems that he's putting a bit of form together for Chelsea. That was two goals in 2 games for him because he scored against Southampton the weekend before. So yeah, no, it was definitely a good performance from Sancho. Probably his best performance I'd say I've seen from him in the Premier League since he's been here. But let's move on to the second half though. Obviously Enzo Maresca made a change at half time, taking off Lavia, who I actually thought was decent in that first half. To be fair, I'm a big fan of Lavia as a player in general, but he took off Lavia and he moved Caicedo into the midfield because Caicedo started at right back, put Gusto on at right back, and then had Gusto inverting and Caicedo as like the double pivot, and then that's what allowed Enzo Fernandez to like push on into the midfield and really be more involved in the game. And obviously he got the equalizing goal, I believe. But overall good performance from Enzo. Obviously someone that you've been critical of in the past. What did you kind of see in this performance that maybe, I don't know, goes against some of the things that you've been saying, or I don't know. What did you see anything in this performance that can sway you on how you're feeling on Enzo?
Nah, I don't think it's swaying me, man. I think it's done. But now, honestly though, he did play well. Like a lot of the things that I had like criticisms of him before, like even just the fundamental things like on the ball. I felt he was just overall a lot better. Like everything you could want from him is like you give him like a +5 boost on all of his attributes.
It's an attribute card.
Nah,
along with
literally,
you.
literally. But yeah, now overall, I just think he was just way better than I've previously seen from him. So yeah, shout out to him because that was definitely a top performance for sure.
Yeah, no, 100%. And obviously, Chelsea go on to extend the lead to two Cole Palmer penalties, making him the best penalty taker in Premier League history, which is crazy. 12 for 12. Yeah, which is just mad. Second penalty with a Panenka finish
Bro,
as well.
I can't lie. When he done that, I said, ah. I just said, ah. Like, bro, ridiculous. Like, the first one I thought was nice. I was like, okay. Second one, I'm just watching, like, what's he going to do? Where's he going to put it? Left, right, same way? Bro, that pen was so rude. I can't lie. The way he did the Panenka and the keeper just gave up. The keeper was like, yeah. Man. Yeah. Like, at that point, you know, only him. One thing I really have always rated about him is that even from when he was playing, like, City games, like in the... I can't remember which team it was like a League 2 side or League 1 side in the FA Cup. He just has like the arrogance about him. Like everything he does, it's like he rates himself to be able to do it. Like he has that sort of naturally just the way he plays, or maybe just the way he is. It's that in all of his actions, in just the way he does things. Like yeah, like he backs himself. Because you know a lot of people, like even us a few years ago, Aguero had that penalty against Chelsea and he tried to Panenka, and he missed it. And like a lot of people have missed Panenkas before, you know, but it's having that sort of that arrogance about you, the same way Benzema did against us, like to back yourself in that high pressure moment to take the lead. Like this is a real sort of game defining moment, and just to have the audacity to do that,
anchor it is ridiculous.
It's crazy.
And one thing as well, just on Palmer's penalties quickly, is like I think Sky did it on the game where it was like a shot map of all his penalties. Bro, this guy's variation with penalties is ridiculous. Like he can put it anywhere, top left, bottom right, like wherever you want it. It's crazy. But obviously Chelsea with a big win. I think this was their first win against the Big Six away from home this season.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and obviously we spoke about it last week that Chelsea have been very good when it comes to dealing with the teams that you would expect them to beat, but in some of the big games, they've kind of come unstuck at times, like the game against Liverpool, City at the beginning of the season, even against Manchester United, when United were not in their best moment under Van Nistelrooy's interim. They still only managed to come away with a draw, but obviously a big win for them. And with Liverpool not playing last weekend, it puts them 4 points off the top. Are we really gonna have a serious conversation about Chelsea title race? Because for me, I feel like. I mean, they're up there. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you want to talk about Arsenal trying to come back into the title race and catch up with Liverpool, and obviously we'll touch on Arsenal's game in a bit. But if you want to talk about Arsenal in that context, I feel like it's only right to shine some light on Chelsea in that instance. I feel like it's a bit different because of where they are in the projects. Obviously, Chelsea have a much younger squad, and Arsenal you would expect them to be at this point considering their last 2 seasons, but. If we're looking at just what it is, I mean, Chelsea are up there.
Listen, man, Enzo Maresca, what phase is this, bro? Tell me, bro. I need to know. Because genuinely, I think I don't know if I tweeted or I just said it to someone, but like a few weeks ago, I was like, you know what? Low-key, Chelsea are kind of better than us. Like, real life Chelsea are better than us. Like, not even like a joke, but just the way that they play, even though they might not have some of the best players, I feel like still the way that they play, and even at times there's been questions about Maresca in certain games and the way that they've performed. But overall, like if you look at the stats, if you look at the big chances created, all the metrics, like is backing them as well. And I can't lie. One of the things I think we mentioned last week was that they have such a huge squad. So it just means that even today when they played against Astana in the Conference League, I think they started Joshua Champong at right back. Like
started Tyreek George at left wing as well.
Yeah, like all these types of players like Cole Palmer and all those sorts of players, they're not even registered, you know what I mean? And some of the players who are registered who are in the first team don't even play these games anyway. So it's like it really gives, I think, that whole sort of vibe of one game a week for these players and gives them a lot of time to freshen up and perform at their maximum capability. And I can't lie, I think it's working so far for them. So we'll have to see how it goes in the long run. Obviously, the favourites right now are Liverpool. They've got Konate out injured for a few weeks now. And I don't know, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I can't lie, because I was saying next season wait on Chelsea when they sign X, Y, and Z, but Yo, I can't lie. They've got some great upcoming fixtures too. Because
Yeah.
I've put Palmer and Jackson in my FPL a few weeks ago. So I've been watching. I've been observing. So yeah, man, I can't lie. If Liverpool can slip up here and there, then that 4 points becomes 3 with a game in hand to Liverpool. Yeah, yo, yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly on Chelsea's fixtures. I mean, their run in the Premier League. They got Brentford at home, and I mean, we mentioned Brentford last week being like the best home team in the Premier League,
Yeah.
but away from home they're worse than Southampton.
Yep.
So that's a game that you'd expect Chelsea to win. They've got Everton away, they've got Fulham at home, they've got Ipswich away, they've got Palace away. Like the run probably until the end of January when they have City at the Etihad. It's looking pretty favourable for them. So, I think we're definitely going to revisit this conversation come end of January, start of February, and see kind of where Chelsea are at. But let's move on to obviously their opponents, Tottenham Hotspur. And you mentioned actually earlier the Chelsea performing really well in the underlying metrics. And it's funny because Spurs actually are performing quite well in terms of underlying metrics, XG, for and against, and all that stuff. But I mean, the conversation around them and Ange at the moment, a lot of Spurs fans are displeased with what they're seeing with the results. I think their run of form is not that impressive. It's
Awful.
one win in their last 5 in the
Against
Premier
who?
League, and against Manchester City, everyone's favorite whipping boys right now.
Oh man.
But what do you make of Ange, Tottenham, the whole situation? I know we spoke about it a bit a couple episodes ago on the podcast, but what do you think of it kind of as it stands now?
I don't know. I think they definitely have a right to be displeased with the results they're showing. Not gonna lie, because I've been watching a few of their games. I think I watched the one in are they playing Europa League or is it Conference League? I think it's Europa.
Yeah, Europa League. Yeah.
It was against Roma, and I can't lie, there was no way that game should have ended in a 2-2 draw. Like, but way before that, I think Kulusevski had hit the post. I think who was it? Was it either Son or someone else had a good chance? Like, they were playing well, and then they didn't really put their chances away. And then later on in the game, Roma started really getting back into it, and they kind of just equalized late on. But for me, like, it really does feel like, I don't know, it's a bit weird. Like, you want more from your team. Like, it must be a bit deflating, watching your team play well against, like, City, for example. We played well against us, even against Chelsea, starting well, and then, like, kind of just collapsing, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I understand, like, at some point, it's going to become too much of, like, you can't just play good and get new results. Like, you do need to have that sort of grind out results, which is, although it's something I, a lot of the time, criticize City for, it's something that we do well. Like, games against, like, Wolves or, like, Southampton, where we didn't really play that well, we still leave with the 3 points.
Yeah.
And sometimes, at the end of the day, that's all that matters, So, I don't know. I think overall, it's still kind of be patient with Ange. But I don't know if you've seen, there was a thing, there was like a tweet or something that someone put out about, like, the board basically, and talk about Ange, and they were basically saying, like, the board has to back Ange, and that, like, getting rid of the manager is not going to change things. Like, you need to give the manager players, blah 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 blah. And Romero retweeted it. But
Really?
He retweeted it, then unretweeted it. But
Okay.
he retweeted it for a bit, and yeah, I don't know. I think that kind of speaks a bit to how they view the manager, and I feel like there's a lot of pressure on him, at the moment with, like, Levy and stuff. You know how, like, Tottenham's board are, but, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that being a sign of, like, the players sort of still believing in him, and the way that a lot of the players have been performing individually this season, such as, like, Romero, Van de Ven, Kulusevski, Maddison, even recently, like, Sarr. Like, I feel like it's having that player support is one of, like, the most fundamental things for a manager. Like, you need your players to believe in your project. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I feel
100%.
like that is kind of his saving grace at the moment. Like, that's really what I think people should, I guess, give him time. Seeing that these players actually do believe in him. Like, it's not like he's losing the dressing room. Like, even though it's tough at the moment, like, these players do trust him. They do back him. They do believe in him. So, yeah, I mean, for me, I'd just say give him time. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I do largely agree with you with what you're saying. I just think it's a weird one, obviously, from Spurs fans' perspective. When you see your team, as we mentioned earlier, go to Etihad and win 4-0, go to Old Trafford and win 3-0, and be comfortably the best team on the night on both occasions, and then you're slipping up in games against, like, Bournemouth or whoever. And yeah, I can imagine it being frustrating, especially as last season, I mean, they started last season really well. They were top of the league at one point, and they looked like throughout the majority of this season that they were going to be uh, almost nailed on for that top four spot. Obviously, they let it slip kind of towards the end of the season. So I can imagine the frustrations from Spurs fans, because the goal going into the season would have been, okay, let's become that top four team that we should have been last season. And with where they are in the league right now, they currently sit 11th. So it definitely is looking like regression from that standpoint. But let's move on to the City Crystal Palace game. I actually didn't catch this game, so I'm gonna let you take it away. What did you see from this game? What did you make of it?
Man, I can't lie. I said like after the Forest game, I think it was, where we won in midweek. I said, I can't lie. There's no chance. Like we actually can't not beat Palace, bro. Like Palace are awful right now, man. We have to. Like, if we don't beat Palace, I can't lie, it might be over. And bro,
So it's over.
yeah, I can't lie, because bro, Palace haven't been good all season. They even got Water missing.
Yeah.
Like, Eze has had moments, but he hasn't been consistently good either. Like, Nketiah hasn't been a success. Like, bro, it's so crazy to me. And the funniest thing is, I feel like in this game we weren't that bad, but we just weren't really that good either. I think the main talking point from that game would probably be the red card. I don't know if you've seen the Rico Lewis. I don't know. I think for me, it's not. You obviously can't overturn it because it's a second yellow, but for me, I don't think that's a foul, man. Like, he goes for the ball, and his foot is planted, and then I think it's Chalobah steps on his foot and then goes down.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a bit harsh. I think it's definitely a bit harsh, but I don't know. I think overall, like, it was still a bit. I don't know. It didn't really feel like City that we know. Like, even though we weren't bad on the ball, so to speak, it still felt like, the same issues we've had for like the last season and a half, which is that, in transition defensively in general, the midfield, the lack of physicality, things like that. And then in attack, it was just a bit stale, to be honest. And I don't know really what more. I don't know realistically what more you can do with the group of players that were out there. I think at that point the solution has to be like, new players. And that doesn't necessarily mean like new players in the window. Obviously we all need new players in the window, but I feel like you have to look at the bench, you have to look at the academy. You have to look at these guys who are training every week and they never get a look in. And then the guys who are like clearly, not only performing badly, but also getting injured a lot because like they can't handle the amount of games they're playing. They're still getting selected every week. Like, for example, De Bruyne, before he got injured for 2 months, he started the first 5 games in a row, like full 90s. Like, De Bruyne is like 33. He shouldn't be playing that much. He's a really injury prone player. He's had a lot of injuries recently. Like, his body can't handle that much. So I don't know. It does feel like even now we're playing. We've got United on the weekend, and De Bruyne is going to start his 4th consecutive game off the back of injury as well. So I don't know. It's for me. I don't know. I think now is the time, if ever, you have to start looking at the bench in the academy, because at least it's better for us to try something new and hope that it can work rather than just sit on the same things again and again. Because this game wasn't really any different to any other game that we've won this season, to be honest. Like, it's just the only difference is that, some defensive mistakes, and here we are, 2-2.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Are there any academy players that you think should be getting more minutes or could be brought in as solutions for the kind of problems you guys are dealing with at the moment?
Yeah, McAtee practically doesn't play. So when he does get like 20 minutes off the bench, he doesn't really look confident. Jacob Wright never plays. Played twice this season. Was spectacular both times he played. Hasn't seen the pitch since. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's also Jemai Simpson-Pusey made his debut for us. Played another like 2 games, I think. Was great in both of them. Hasn't seen the pitch since. But then, the likes of Kyle Walker plays whenever he's fit practically. Rico Lewis, although he's like still a young player, Rico Lewis plays nearly every single game for the last 3 months. Like he's barely had a rest, and you can see it. Like you can see he's tired. Vardio as well. Like a lot of these players, we're forcing them to still play even though they haven't had a rest. And I don't know. For me, it's a bit like, at what point do you say like enough's enough? Like sometimes you have to go back to the drawing board, rework everything, and start again. So I don't know. I think it's I think the derby on the weekend will definitely be important because yeah, man, I don't know about this this season might be a write-off for real. Like obviously title challenging and things like that is already like a heavy doubt right now, but like you might be talking top 4.
Yeah, I was going to pose that question to you. Is top 4? Well, I mean, I assume that's now the aim because the title's kind of out of the window. But
Yeah.
do you even think that's comfortable within itself? Like, do you think that, are you confident that City can make top 4 come the end of the season?
Nah, I'm not confident, but I think we will.
Okay.
I think we will. I think Chelsea, Liverpool finish above us. Probably Arsenal. I think after that, I think we should be there right after Arsenal. I don't know if we're playing in the Europa League next season, bro. Oh my gosh, if we're playing Europa League, yeah, man, something's wrong.
Bro.
But nah, I don't know. I think it's I don't know. I think also off the back of the Juve game, while we're on the topic of City,
Yeah.
I think in this game it was kind of it was actually quite similar to Palace, but I think we were worse in this game. I think in possession there wasn't really, it was very, very stale. Like we had De Bruyne, Grealish in the middle, Gundogan 6, Doku left, Bernardo right, and then Haaland up front. And I think there's one, De Bruyne creates a brilliant chance out of magic in the first half for Haaland. And then Haaland tries to chip the keeper saves it.
Oh, yeah.
That's like the only chance we created the whole game practically. I think De Bruyne created one more later on, but that was like the only real chance for the whole game. And I don't know, it's very stale, as I said before, but then going the other way, we have these defensive lapses. I think for both goals, I think for the first goal to start off with, I don't know what Gatty's doing in the box because he's a centre back, but he does like a scissor kick. Kiefer saves it. And then Vardio, like this is the number one rule of defending is you don't play it back across your own box. He passes it across his own box and it's a poor pass. Walker goes for it and then he like stutters because he doesn't know whether to go or not. Because obviously if he goes and there's a player there, he leaves a big space behind him.
Yeah.
So he goes and then he stops, looks, sees Bernardo's on his way, so he goes. But then by the time he gets out to the defender plays a cross in. Vardio gets dunked on at the back post. Vlahovic goal 1-0. And oh no, sorry, but
Edison's a bit questionable for that goal.
I forgot about he like I don't know what he tries to do, but I can't like he's been poor for a lot of this season. I'm not gonna lie, like he's had a couple good games, but for a lot of the season he's created a lot of errors leading to goals, and I don't know. I think he's one of the names that has to be looked at going into the rebuild in the summer. But then the game just kind of it's the same story every match. It feels like where once we've missed a chance, go the other end, concede, heads drop, no one knows what to do anymore. Grealish, I didn't really see him touch the ball that much. De Bruyne, I barely saw him touch the ball, unless it was like in wide areas to pass the ball to the winger. Like there wasn't really much going on. And then in transition, the same issues. Doku ends up switching over to the right. They put Grealish on the left, put Bernardo into the middle, and then for some reason, I can't say for some reason. We know why. It's our midfield, but there's a huge gap in the middle. They carry the ball. I can't even remember which player specifically. I think Danilo wins it and then passes it off to someone. Carries the ball up, goes right past Walker, right past Gundogan, carries the ball against Doku. Oh, no, not Doku. Diaz, Rico Lewis, and Vardio at the back. I think it's Yildiz plays the ball over, and then they play. Diaz, they play the ball over. Diaz goes over to cover the man because Vardio's, I don't know what he's doing. He's quite lost. And then ball goes back over to the back post where Walker and Gundo haven't recovered, and then McKennie's arriving, bangs it. It's a great finish. I can't lie.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's the same sort of issue. It starts from the midfield, the lack of athleticism from Gundo, the decline in athleticism from Walker, and that not real willingness to get back, and then defensive mistakes from Guardiola. Like it all kind of compounds, and it's things that we saw in isolation over like the last season and a half because of Rodri. Rodri was there to sort of hold it all together. For example, Rodri in that transition, Rodri's either not getting beat on the sprint or he's taking a tactical foul.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's found the man
Yeah.
if someone gets past him. Yeah,
But Gundogan, it's not even that he's not really great with the tactical foul. It's that he doesn't even have the athleticism to catch him to foul him. Do you see what I mean? So things like that, it's just like those are the little things that it's not holding us together. And then in possession, obviously, you know, Rodri's quality is like we're going to play much better with Rodri than without anyway. So I don't know. I feel like it's just kind of the same thing. So if United can set up with, I think the main thing for United is just survive the first wave. Like if United can set up with defenders who will defend with proper grit, like survive the first wave, and then as long as like we miss our first sort of half chance, United can go up the other end, wait till like the 30th minute, our midfielders will be tired. Like carry the ball in transition, Mason Mount and the likes of you know,
that's it. That's all we got in terms of carrying the ball in midfield.
Yeah,
The only legs we
like-
got is Mason Mount, bro.
that's all you need. To get. It's like as long as you can wait till get tired, carry the ball through midfield, and then maybe wait till like second half and start proper going for it. Like there's a result there. Like I don't know, it'll be a draw or 3 points, but there's definitely like a few goals in the side there for United. I feel like, and I don't know, it's kind of concerning because, bro, like we've lost at the Etihad to United before, like the time when Pogba dropped the masterclass,
Yeah.
the time in lockdown, but like still, it's like this is different. Like it feels different. Like losing to United at the Etihad in the current state as well. I don't know, man. That
Yeah.
this last Juve game makes it 7 in.
I think it's
I think
one win in 10.
win in 10. Yeah, one win, 2 draws, 7 losses in 10. So I don't know, man. I really don't know. It's crazy right now. It's crazy right now.
Yeah, I mean, on the United game quickly, I guess we can
Yeah.
can just preview it now. I think it's as you kind of mentioned, it's an interesting one coming into it because I can't remember the last time to be honest, ever really that like Man City are coming into a Manchester derby like this, and they're not. I would still say that City are the favourites just because you guys have more quality than us. Like objectively, your players are better, and with Ruben Amorim just coming in a couple of weeks ago as well. But the situation that you guys are in, this is kind of like I don't want to say make or break because it's not like Pep's gonna get sacked if you guys lose this, but it's a very important game. Like there's a lot that rides on this game, and I feel like for both teams as well. Even for United, and we'll get onto our game against Nottingham Forest in a bit, but like on the Amorim, of course, new manager, we're gonna give him his grace and stuff. He's still trying to figure out his best team, the players that he's gonna kind of depend on and rely on. But the results, I mean, I think it's 1 draw, 2 losses, and then obviously the 1 win against Everton. So, you know, it would be huge for him to kind of be able to go to the Etihad and have a statement win and performance against Manchester City. I don't know. I think for me, coming into this game, I don't know, because that's the thing is you don't really know what Man United are gonna show up in terms of the players individually. Do you know what I mean? Like I think, I don't know, like De Ligt could start and have a good game. He could be fine, but he could also make an error, for example, and then we're 1-0 down and the game spirals from there, for example. And that's not even me singling out De Ligt, but like it could be anyone in the team really from what we've seen. I think in midfield is. It could be interesting. I can imagine you guys will probably try to overload us in there, obviously with the system that Amorim likes to play with, kind of the 2 pivot midfielders. So I think Ugarte's role is going to be really massive in that game. I think he's been quite good since Amorim has come in. I think he's definitely, you can tell that he understands his role in the system and he's familiar with what he's supposed to be doing. So I think if he has a good game, it will set us up to kind of perform well. I think in terms of the forwards, that's something that, I mean, I'll get into it in more depth when we talk about the Forest game. But the forwards are just inconsistent. You have no idea what we're going to get from any of them. Obviously, Højlund has probably been our most informed forward since Amram's come in. I've scored 2 goals today actually on a day of recording in the Europa League. But I think if we can create enough chances for him, or if, a chance can land to him and he can take it, because that's one thing about Holland is that his finishing is not really something that I think people question. It's more everything else in terms of his all-round game, hold up, how he's trying to bring plays into the game, even creating shots for himself.
Yep.
And I think if we can create a chance for him, then from there, I think obviously the first goal is always important, but I think in this game specifically, because of the states of both teams, I think whoever gets the first goal will be in really good stead to go and win the game because of how the other team will react. Like as you mentioned, you guys right now, when one goal goes in, it seems like heads drop, and I think for United it's been like that for the past 2-3 seasons. So, but let's move on to the United game. Obviously, 3-2 loss against Nottingham Forest. Forest take the lead super early through a set piece, which was just frustrating watching, considering the Arsenal game last week where we conceded 2 goals from corners, and 2 minutes in, it's like we still haven't addressed this issue. But I think to be honest, from then for the rest of the first half, I think we were comfortably the better team. Obviously we get back into the game with a really nice worked goal. And Højlund's there to tap in, but the move is really nice in terms of Bruno dropping in, playing it into Ugarte, who's able to then bring the ball forward and carry it. Tried to slip in Garnacho and his shot's blocked and it falls to Højlund. It's a really nice move, and I think those are the sort of patterns that Amram will be wanting to see from his players, from his teams, going forward. But the second half, man, like we concede early again. Through the Gibbs White goal, which is it's just terrible from Onana. Like, he doesn't cover himself in glory at all, and it's really frustrating when you kind of consider like the redemption arc that he's been on the past couple of months. I'd say, to be honest, since the beginning of the year he's been pretty solid. Like, it seemed like he put that Champions League campaign behind him where he was making howler after howler, and from January to about now he's been very solid. But I don't know, the game against Forest on the weekend, he just, I don't know, that kind of insecurity that you would feel with Onana in goal at the beginning of last season kind of came back in that game. And obviously then we were 2-1 down, but I think from 2-1 down, we just didn't really show anything in terms of getting back into the game, like any sort of creativity, any sort of impetus, any sort of intent, like going forward with the ball. Even though we had possession for the majority of the game, Forest score again, make it 3-1. Another really, really strange goal. Euro gets beaten in the air by Chris Wood, and like Delit, Onana and Lisandro Martinez are all on the line. One of them has to deal with it. I think the majority of the blame probably falls on Lisandro Martinez because he can literally lift his foot and clear off the line if he wants to. But we go down again. Bruno gets another goal to get back into it. But even still, even at 3-2, you didn't feel like watching the game that United really had anything in them. And I think that's probably the most frustrating thing. And it speaks to the players largely, because I think it's too early to kind of be drawing conclusions about Amram and what kind of the strengths and weaknesses are of the system yet, because I think we're still in a phase where the players haven't fully got to grasp with the system, so we can't even really say what the main problems are because the players aren't executing it as Amram will want it to be seen. But I think with the squad, it's just gonna have to be a massive rebuild in the summer, which is, I mean, it's kind of embarrassing considering last summer and even the whole period on the Ten Hag where we basically blew up and rebuilt the squad, and now we're in a situation again where the players, technically, a lot of them are not good enough. Like, the amount of passes you'll see watching United where players under no pressure and it'll just be a turnover, or they try and switch the ball and it'll go out of play. Physically, the players are not good enough. They can't run up and down the pitch for 90 minutes. We can't put a coherent press together for a full game. And mentally as well, you mentioned with City the fragility that you guys have been showing in recent weeks, but with United it's been there for years, to be honest. I wouldn't even just say under Ten Hag. It seems like when the heads go at United, it seems like nobody knows what they're doing. They almost revert to type, panicking and just trying to get the ball forward as quick as possible, and then there's turnovers, and you have to run more, and you're not going to win the game. You're not going to control a game like that. So, yeah, it's just another frustrating result. But I think ultimately, we're just kind of confirming more of what we already knew about the United squad, is that a lot of these guys are not good enough. A lot of these guys are probably not going to be here in the next 2 to 3 years. But I wanted to get your opinion on just quickly on some of the players in the team. Obviously, there might not be that many, but of the players in the squad, who do you kind of think could be the ones that can go on to be, I wouldn't even say key players, but solid, good players for Amram, at least in this early stage while he's trying to get his foot under the table properly?
I have a few actually, because I can't lie, it's funny. There's quite a few United players that I actually really rate. Like, I think these guys are cool.
You can have them. You can have them. You can have them all.
So obviously Kobe.
Yeah.
Rate Kobe.
You can't have him. You can't have him.
Yeah, I rate him. Ahmad as well. I think Ahmad will be good. He's already been good, to be fair, for Amram. But yeah, I think he will just improve. Surprisingly, Xerxes.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Xerxes is a weird one. There's been a lot of criticism around him, and I mean, as like the player, Xerxes on paper, I like the player, the idea of the player, but I feel like sometimes in games, it just seems a bit like, I don't know if I want to say lack of urgency maybe, but it just seems a bit careless. What do you see in Xerxes that you think you see as a good sign?
I think it's environment for him that's sort of the main thing. I think in a better environment, like you watch him at Bologna, for example, you still see him as the same player, but like it's not the same. Like there's a bit, that spark is kind of missing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's environment. I feel like Amorim will have to sort of cultivate like a bit more of a culture on the team, and obviously he's still early, so as like time goes on, he'll work on that and he'll like really build that. But I still do think he has something more to give, especially like his link-up play, the way he can bring in players. The types of forwards that you guys have, like Rashford, Garnacho, even to some extent, I would say, playing with Højlund as well. Like I feel like the way that Xerxes is and the way he's able to bring in other players, I feel like that's just gonna be something that will be useful for you guys in terms of getting results. And then defensively, I'd say definitely Euro. I'm a fan of Euro. I think he's good. He's still young, but he's really talented. And then Mazraoui as well, I'd say.
Yeah.
I think between him and Dallo, they're gonna figure out eventually whether who's gonna be that sort of right/left centre back, and then who's gonna be the one that's playing almost like wing back. I know we've seen a lot of Dallo playing like a bit more advanced as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think he definitely has something more to give in terms of so far under Amorim. Like I feel like it's just sort of like a teething type of thing, like a growing pain type thing. I think over time it will sort of get figured out. But yeah, I'd say them three are the main ones I think about defensively.
Yeah, no, fair enough. To be honest, I think we probably have the same list. I'm kind of not too sure about Dallo, like super long term going forward. I think for now, I think he's definitely a solid option to have in the team. I think like when he's playing well physically and technically, like he's there, he's got it. But I just think the decision making at times is a bit erratic, especially in the final third. When if you're going to be playing in that wing back role, we need production from you. Do you know what I mean?
Hey man, bring him here, man. We got something. we could do something for
a cool 45, 50 million is all yours, bro. Can't lie. But let's move on to the Arsenal game. Obviously, 1-1 draw with Fulham, and Fulham have they've turned out to be a bit of a bogey team for this Arsenal side. Last season didn't take any points, or no, they didn't win against Fulham at all last season. I think they might have drawn the game at Craven Cottage last season as well. But obviously in this game, Fulham take the lead early through Jimenez. Really good finish.
Brilliant.
Drilled into the bottom corner. Always like to see Jimenez scoring, man. But Arsenal, obviously, they get back into the game through a set piece, William Saliba, in the 52nd minute. And I just kind of wanted to bring the attention to this specific stat because throughout the game, obviously, Arsenal were creating chances. They had an XG of 0.03 overall. But if you take away the set pieces from that XG and you look at just open play, the number falls down to 0.29 open play XG, which
It's not great.
it's not great at all. It's a bit wild to think. Obviously, Arsenal have been praised massively for this set piece weapon that they have. I think it's 23 goals from set pieces since the beginning of last season, which is the most from any team in the Premier League, and I think they're leading by like 8 goals or something like that on second place, which is crazy. But do you think this has gone a bit too far? Are they too reliant on set pieces at this current point, Arsenal?
Yes, but I also think it's sustainable, which is so funny. Like I think this is too woke. Not gonna lie. Like I even saw them create like a mural for the set piece coach.
Yeah, I
Arsenal
seen
fans.
that.
Yeah, come on, man. Like, what are we doing here, man? But I think it's I don't know. I think it's sustainable simply because of the players they have. Like they've got their players are tall. They've got so many aerial threats.
Yeah.
And they've got Rice and Saka. Rice really surprised me because his deliveries are disgustingly good.
Me too. I did not see this coming. When he was at West Ham, he was in the box trying to get his head on the set pieces. He comes to Arsenal, all of a sudden he can put them on a dime. It's crazy.
It's insane. And I feel like other teams just simply aren't built to combat that. Like having that consistent delivery of both corners in swinging. Or is it in swing?
Yeah,
in swinging, yeah. And then having that amount of aerial threats, like teams are just not built to withstand that. Like teams are built to obviously defend set piece as well, but no one's built to handle, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Kiwior, all of them players.
Bro, even against Fulham, it was Havertz that was doing the Gabriel play, running to the back and heading it. And obviously Saliba got the flick on. It's crazy.
Yeah, no one is built to combat that. So it's like, unless teams are going to specifically build their team, and no one's going to do that because it's just a detriment. So I don't know. I feel like it's so like, I think it's crazy over reliant, and there will come a time where it does sort of like bite them back. But still, like, I don't know. I think it's sustainable, which is really funny. So I think they're going to keep going with it and they're going to keep getting success. But, games like this, for example, where you'd want to win and they draw, I feel like that's where it's really going to become a bit of an issue. Like, I didn't think Havertz was that great.
Yeah.
I didn't think Odegaard was even that great.
Yeah,
like,
it was one of his poorer games, definitely.
And I don't know. I do feel like, I don't know, it's a bit... How can I say this? It's almost like, because there's so much of a reliance on that, it's like they've not neglected, but like they've drifted away from like the core principles of what Arsenal used to be, and like not even used to be like Wenger, but like used to be like 22, 23 Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? They used to, even though teams were like obviously less inclined to camp in their own box against Arsenal back then, still Arsenal were playing like fluid football. They're creating chances, they're scoring goals, they're defending well. Like everything was sort of working in conjunction. I feel like when you separate that and make it sort of, like this is our way of creating chances, I don't know, I feel like it kind of makes teams almost okay with playing against Arsenal. Obviously, no one's going to be okay with playing against a team of Arsenal's quality, but like, it's like, okay, how they're going to hurt us is through the set pieces. That's like their main thing. So if you can play against that, like, we can get a point or something. And obviously Fulham did get a point. So I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. I think the kind of wider conversation about Arsenal struggling really to create from open play, I think you can kind of break it down to in this game anyway, is a lot has been made of Arsenal's like right hand side. This season we've been seeing a lot Havertz drifting over to that side. Obviously Saka's there, arguably their most important player. Odegaard as well drifts onto that side. Odegaard, the other player that you could argue to be Arsenal's most important player. And I think in this game against Fulham, Iwobi, Robinson and Lukic did really well on that left-hand side to kind of nullify Arsenal's right-hand side, all that threat that came from there. Even Traore was playing left wing in the first half, and he did well to kind of track back and stop any overloads and like match Arsenal in those areas. And then in the second half, I think when he came off, Iwobi went into that role and was filling that role in terms of tracking runners and getting involved defensively. And I think when Arsenal can't get anything going on that right hand side just because of how much quality they have over there, you've got Saka, Odegaard, and you've got Havertz. Probably arguably your three most important attacking players, or in the final third anyway. If those players are nullified and they can't get anything going, like, it's going to be a problem for them. Yeah. And I think against Fulham, anytime Arsenal would try and attack down the left hand side, the ball would end up at Trossard, and he's got two defenders on him, and there's just not really, like, he doesn't really have anything, any real options. Even if you want to say, okay, Trossard's not really the type of player to, like, beat a man and pull out something spectacular. There's not really any support there. Like, Declan Rice was playing left centre mid in this game, and there were a couple times he made some runs, like, in behind, late into the arriving late into the box, but even still, he's not really offering any real support to the winger out there. Timber starting this game at left back, and he was, like, inverted, so there's no overlap on that side. And I think like when Martinelli came on, it was more of the same. And I think Martinelli and Jesus came on at the same time, or they came on in similar times. It kind of took me back to that period where Martinelli was really banging and
created a beautiful chance, by the way. Just unlucky.
Yeah. For Saka, they did get unlucky there, but it kind of take me back to that time where Martinelli would play well, and Arsenal fans would always say that, like, Jesus and Martinelli is like a clear partnership, because Jesus likes to drift over to left, and Martinelli can, like, ghost into the space that Jesus is vacating, and he can get into positions to score goals. And I just think Arsenal don't really have any dynamics on that left hand side anymore, and I think that's definitely stifling their chance creation in possession. I know Marino was brought in to kind of be that left-sided centre mid, and I don't know, for me, I've not really seen too much of him in terms of, like, when I've watched him, I haven't really been too amazed, I should say. Like, I haven't really thought that he's providing anything crazy in terms of chance creation or helping Arsenal, be more of a threat in the final third.
Aerial threat, bro.
Aerial threat, I guess, yeah. Nah, I guess he is another 6 foot plus guy. But, I don't know, I think it's an interesting one for Arsenal. Definitely going to need to fix something with that left hand side if teams are going to start to figure out their right hand side and start to clamp down on that. But let's head into the Champions League games quickly. We'll start with the blockbuster Atalanta 2, Real Madrid 3. Crazy game. Obviously Real Madrid took the lead in this game through Kylian Mbappe. And it was a really good goal, really good finish from him. Really nice movement, and I noticed, actually, I think it was like the first or second minute, he had a similar chance where he runs in behind, makes the run, and the shot is saved by the goalkeeper. But just watching that, I think obviously Mbappe comes off 30 minutes with an injury, but in those 30 minutes, you could see that there was something different about him. He was playing with a bit more almost. He was almost like playing into the 9-role more, and obviously that's a good thing to see from a Real Madrid perspective. He's had problems adapting to the role since he's been at the club, but it looked like in the beginning of this game that he was starting to take on the role more and do what was actually needed from the team. And if he does that, bro, like, he's gonna get chances, like, and he's gonna put them away. It's Mbappe. So, but yeah, I think after the Mbappe goal, it was Atalanta really started to pick up, and they've been a really big force in Serie A this season, and obviously in the Champions League as well. They get the equaliser through Charles Catala with a penalty, very soft penalty, to be honest, but Catala puts it away. I know this is a player that you really like, so do you have any words on him?
Nah, I can't lie, man. Yo, I really gave off on him after the
AC Milan spell was a bit tough, innit?
Yeah, after that, I can't lie, I did give off on him, bro. I thought, damn, like, it might be over, like, maybe it was just a dud. But nah, the way he's reinvented himself at Atlanta is, like, to be honest, I wouldn't even say exactly reinvented himself. I feel like the situation is just, the conditions he's in now suits him a lot better.
I think the system suits him a lot better.
Yeah, and you know, I think he's really showing the returns now. I know when he was at Milan, like even though sometimes, you know, you want to give players the benefit of the doubt and stuff, sometimes it's just like, bro, like this is just a bad performance.
Yeah.
Like it's cut and dried, it's bad. But now he's really, I like it, man. He's getting back to, you know, why he was rated so highly before. Like he's really starting to show that again. And yeah, man. You know, hopefully it continues on with him and Retegui, Lookman. They've got a good team there. You know, I can't lie. If they can hold on to these players and add some big ones, like I can't lie, could become like, you know, what Atalanta was supposed to be or what they almost used to be, I guess, with
Couple of seasons ago when they had like Ilicic,
Papu
Papu Gomez.
Gomez.
Nah, they had ballers still.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, obviously into the second half now. I think in the second half, Vinny kind of moved to more of like the central role that Mbappe was filling in the first half, and he was kind of playing like a false nine. Like I was seeing Vinny picking up the ball in like first, second phase and like trying to dribble it out, picking it out from the centre backs and stuff. And to be fair, he looked all right there. Like, you know, he's a nifty player, so you know it looked like it was working. Obviously with Atalanta's man-to-man marking system, like he's picking up the ball a lot of the time and he's free, or he doesn't have that much pressure on him because he's able to drop so quickly. So yeah, and we see it for the third goal later, but. Yeah, he gets the go-ahead goal. Really nice finish from him.
Oh, great.
With his left foot, and yeah, Vinny, man, in the Champions League, bro. This guy, he might be the new Mr. Champions League. You know, I think it might be him.
I don't think there's any like, I don't think anyone can really deny that. Not gonna lie, you look at him, like in group stages, he usually bangs. Knockout games and big games, he always bangs. Like, I don't see how it can really be disputed. Like in the Champions League, he's him for real. I don't know who else would you say maybe you can compare. Like
I don't know. Like obviously, in terms of like the goal record, you could probably say Haaland, but Haaland doesn't have the same moments as Vinny. You know what I mean? Like the big game before, he didn't score semi-final or final when you guys won it, right?
No.
Yeah. So whereas Vinny's got two final goals.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. He's taken that mantle, man. Obviously, he got the 7 at Real Madrid, so it's kind of poetic in that nature. Then yeah, brilliant assist for the second goal as well. Ball over the top to Bellingham. Nice little move to cut inside.
I heard he had a good performance as well.
Yeah, really good game overall. Like he was just, it was like Bellingham of last season. Do you know what I mean? Like involved everywhere. Overall, really good performance, like linking play, carrying the ball up the pitch, like we know he's a great dribbler, but also getting back and defending with intensity, making good challenges, and making runs behind. Vinny picks him out, gets his goal, really good finish. And yeah, I think last couple games, to be honest, the last few weeks, Bellingham's really started to show up again. I know people are getting onto him a little bit for the beginning of the season because he didn't start so well, but the last few games he's really been turning it on. And then Atalanta pull one back through Adamoda Lookman, who, I mean, it was a crazy finish as well, by the way, almost fantastic. Like the trademark Mbappe finish.
Yeah.
But Lookman, for me, man, I can't lie, I think if we're looking at 2024 as a whole, he might be top 5 calendar year of what he's been doing. I think if you look at okay, what he started the year with the AFCON, Nigeria carried us through in terms of the group stages and the knockouts, like especially with a team where you're kind of looking at Osimhen to be that guy, and it was really Lookman who stepped up with the big goals and the big moments, and then carried on doing his thing at Atalanta when he came back. Had the hat trick in the Europa League final
that was one of the craziest performances I've ever seen, bro.
One of the craziest final performances, 100%. And to beat that Leverkusen team with the unbeaten run they had going and all the history that they could have made, and for him to just kind of dunk on it with 3 goals, like is crazy. And then I mean, this season he's not really slowed down. Like he's had some big moments for Atalanta, winning goals. And they currently sit top of the Serie A. So, you know, he's definitely had a good year. And yeah, for me, I think he's one of the best players in the world at the moment.
For sure. I hear that. I definitely hear that.
But yeah, obviously important win for Real Madrid in terms of the Champions League. I think they're still in the playing spaces up to 20th now.
Yeah.
But it's still looking a bit tight for them. I think who's their last Champions League game? They got Salzburg and they got Brest as their last 2 games. So I don't know. I don't know if it's still technically possible for them to sneak into the top 8, but it's not looking likely. But yeah,
It's less likely for us to sneak in as well, bro.
yeah. Where are you guys here?
22nd. We're
22nd.
equal with PSV and Dinamo Zagreb on points. So if we can't get a result, we're waiting on goal difference for them, or we're watching their results technically.
Watching Zagreb goal difference.
Yeah. Yeah. No. If PSG, it looks like if PSG beat us, and Zagreb get a draw and PSV win, yeah, it's done for us. Still, it's done. We're out. We're looking at 25th, 26th.
And
So,
there's no Europa League, not a few man to drop into.
Yeah, it might not even be that much, to be fair, if Stuttgart win. But yeah, man.
But that's all we have time for. Thank you guys so much for listening. And until next week, we're out.
Cheers.